Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Assalamu alaikum class. I'm your instructor Zia Hamid. I welcome you to English grade 6 video lessons. I hope that you're doing well and all ready and set to learn about today's SLO. Now, we are on our unit number 4 and the title is He is a Carpenter. This will be our lecture number 3A with the competency of vocabulary, and we will be exploring the topic of figures of speech. Now let's see what figures of speech we are going to study in this video lesson. For that, we are going to look at our students' learning outcome. Now, our SLO is understand and utilize figurative language, and that includes similes, metaphors, personification given in the text, and make sentences. So, figurative language, and specifically we are going to deal with all these figures of speech mentioned here: similes, metaphors, personification given in any text, whether it's fictional or non-fictional, and we will be also making sentences using these mentioned figures of speech. Now this is our students learning outcome. Now let's achieve it with this video lesson. But before that, you need to know about this vertical linkage, that how your SLO is connected with the previous grade's SLO of the same nature and same topic. You have already gone through it. Now let's talk about our brainstorming session. For today, we have a very interesting prompt for you in the brainstorming activity. So what are figures of speech? How do you relate or compare things? Comparison between things, we often do it, and we often relate one thing to the other, but how do we do it? What do you think about it? Come up with your answers, pause the video, give yourself some time to think, and then we will move forward. That's very good. Now, we are talking about figurative language, and specifically, we are dealing with similes in this video lesson. The rest of the figures of speech will be covered in other upcoming lectures. So, let's talk about first what is figurative language. So, figurative language means using words and phrases in a way that is not meant to be taken literally. Instead, it creates mental images, conveys emotions, or add depth to a story or poem. So, we will be using words in such a way that they do not sound they are not to be taken literally, not to be taken exactly as they are sounding to us. So such kind of language is figurative language, and they have so many figures of speech. Now, it creates mental image to the listener or the reader of the text, and it conveys the emotions or add depth to a story or poem. So, we know that when we are reading something, there is nothing in front of us. But when we are reading something that is written using the figurative language, we start having glimpses and images coming in our mind because of the way the words are used and the way the figures of speech are used in our text. Now, this makes the text very interesting, and it also makes your speech so interesting to the listener. And in figures of speech, you relate things together, you use artistic, flowery language to create the effect to the listener or the reader. Make them comfortable and allow them to be relatable to the thing that you are talking about. So this is the purpose of using figurative language. Now, let's talk about our figure of speech that we are targeting here in this video lesson, and it is simile. So if you remember, this is taken from your page 30 of the book. A simile is a comparison between two different things. So first thing is, it's a comparison. You compare two different things using the words like or as. For example, as slippery as an eel, like peas in a pod, as blind as a bat. Now, we are talking here, we are familiar that in simile we use words like or as for comparison. Here we used it, and as is often used twice, before the word and after it. So, as slippery as an eel, if you are talking about something which is other than an eel and you are comparing it with an eel, you are emphasizing that the thing is very slippery, just like an eel is having a slippery nature. So we are comparing two different things with the word as, and this is our simile. Next one is like peas in a pod. We use the word like for the comparison, and as blind as a bat. We are comparing something which is which is blind, but how blind it is, like a bat. So we are comparing two different things to create the effect and emphasis. This is why we use similes, and these are some of the examples in front of you. Now, let's go through some examples together with some pictures to make you understand better. So, this is, he is brave like a lion. So, the subject is being compared to the animal lion, and we use the word like. So, he is brave. How much brave is he? Like a lion, because lion is known to be brave. So, we are comparing these two different things, a human being and a non-human, comparing it using the word like to show emphasis and importance. Now, she is as busy as a bee. We use the word as to show comparison between these two things. Next one is the cake was as light as a feather. Again, we are using these two words, the word as to compare this noun with the word feather. So we are comparing the cake with feather. Now, after going through these multiple examples, now we have a simulation video for your better understanding. This will be played by your teacher in the class, and you will learn more about using figures of speech in your writing and in your speech. For your classroom activity, from page 30 of the book, you have to think of an object or scene such as a forest or a mountain range. Write down at least two similes that describe the object or scene but with a twist. For example, instead of saying the trees were as tall as giants, you could say the trees were as tall as the Empire State Building lying on its side. So share your similes with the class. Now, let's talk about the worksheet. This will be handed over to you to solve so that you can get the most out of the topic we are discussing. For your homework, you have to use the given similes in your sentences. All these similes are given and you have to make sentences using them. Now, we are here at the end of our lesson with some resources. All these resources are available in the description of the video. Now, I hope that you have a great time learning about figurative language and specifically a figure of speech called simile. We saw the definition of simile and followed by with so many different examples. Till the next video lesson, Allah Hafiz.